Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Pope. I'm the academic support specialist here with the Atlanta Virtual Academy. I'm waiting on my audio to connect. I'm sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. We will be beginning shortly. I am on Zoom. You are on YouTube. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Pope. All right, my audio just kicked in, so I know that you're hearing me now. This will be a pre-recorded session. Hopefully, everyone else will come on over who was in the other meeting. Like I said, my name is Mr. Pope again. I am the academic support specialist with the Atlanta Virtual Academy. This will be a pre-recorded session. You can use the chat. I'm gonna type a welcome message. Again, everyone, this will be a pre-recorded session. I will be here live to answer any questions that you may have, and I will be pausing from time to time during the presentation to answer any questions that you may have. All right. So with that being said, I'm a little bit behind. I don't like that, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So give me a second. While I have this on the screen, please go ahead and sign in for me. Like I always say, if you don't sign in, I didn't know that you were here. So please sign in for me using the link. I'm typing the link in the chat for you. This meeting will take approximately 2 hours, maybe a little bit less than that. I know it's Friday. I know everybody's ready to go. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm waiting on maybe one or two other people to join us. Give me 1 second to get everything queued up. All right. I think we're almost there. Only 2 hours, maybe. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Pope with the Atlanta Virtual Academy. We're going to go ahead and get started. I like to start my meetings on time. This meeting will last approximately 2 hours. You all are on YouTube. I am on Zoom. There will be a 20-second delay in the audio for this meeting. With that being said, if one can go ahead and sign in. So, with that being said, if you all could go ahead and sign in, I did hear my voice on the other end, so I am aware that the audio is working. So, like I said again, if you have not signed in, please go ahead and sign in using the link on the screen. That is the only way that I will know you are in attendance at this meeting. Again, this meeting is required for all students and all parents. So, please, if your students are not with you, make sure that they join you as soon as possible in this meeting. Again, this meeting is for students and parents. I'm going to go over the agenda in a second, but just know that we're going to go over all things AVA full time this morning. You will be experts in the full time program by the time we are done with this meeting. Again, this meeting will last about 2 hours. Again, if you have not signed in, please go ahead and sign in for me. I will offer several reminders throughout the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the big issues is technology. So when you registered for this orientation, I asked you if you needed technology. If you well, let's go back. We are requiring that all students have a school issued laptop device for various reasons. We can only troubleshoot on our own devices. So, technology distribution will be next week, starting on August 1st as well as August the 2nd, which are Monday and Tuesday from 9 until 3 p.m. That will be at the AVA Support Hub, which is at Phoenix Academy. The address is listed there on the screen. Please take a screenshot of this particular screen. Again, I'll sit here for a second and I will come back to this if we need to later on. But please go ahead and take a screenshot. Again, this is for technology distribution, which will be Monday and Tuesday, August 1st and August 2nd at Phoenix Academy from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, we are requiring that all students pick up a device, a school issued laptop device this year. So please come out to pick up your students' devices at that time. And again, just to reiterate, this session is for parents as well as students. And day one is what we call strong start. And I'll talk about that in a second. But students are to be working on the first day of school. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to both students and parents to the AVA Parent Student Orientation for the fall of 2022. We are looking forward to a great year. And again, my name is Mr. Pope. I am the student support specialist with the program. All right, so in terms of our agenda, we're going to first start with introductions. We're going to introduce, I'll show you the staff members. And then we're going to go into details about AVA. And then we're going to talk about Strong Start. And then we're going to talk about taking attendance at Infinite Campus for students. We're going to cover the APS student calendar. And we're going to talk about getting started in navigation of Genius, Edgenuity, and, as well as technical troubleshooting. All right, so as for introductions, this is our leadership team. We do have 11 other staff members who provide instructions, but these are our leadership team in terms of our different core areas, as well as our directors of our program, as well as our school counselor, Ms. Eccles, as well as myself, Mr. Pope. I prefer text messages. If you've ever corresponded with me so far, you would know that I do prefer text messages. My number is on the screen, 678-201-0474. Again, that number is 678-201-0474. I would suggest you take a screenshot of this screen as well. There will be a few other screens that I would suggest you take a screenshot of if you haven't already, but I'll let you know which screens those are. And we can always come back to any screens that you may have. Just as a matter of housekeeping, please go ahead and put any questions you may have in the chat. I will be taking breaks in between to answer those questions. So if you have any questions, please type those in the chat. I am able to see your screen on YouTube. All right. So, in terms of enrollment, everyone should be pretty solid in terms of the enrollment process at this point. First, you completed the application in the spring. You are now at the Strong Start student orientation, the student parent orientation. Student registration needs to be completed if that applies to you. So, if you have a child and they haven't completed their registration at their home school, please go ahead and take care of that. Students cannot get classes until that is complete. And this screen says counselor enter classes before winter break, but it's really counselors will enter classes before day one. And then the other screen says, I need to change this as well. Device pickup at the home school. Device pickup, like I said earlier, will be actually at Phoenix Academy. I need to change that slide as well. But device pickup will be at Phoenix Academy this year as opposed to the home school. And then day one is August the 1st. So that is the first day of school, and again, every student needs to be ready to start. They need not be ready to start. They need to start classes on August the 1st. That reminds me, you all make sure that you have already checked the Genius portal to make sure that your students' classes are loaded. You all received login information from me quite a while ago with that information, so keep that in mind. Go ahead and have your student check the portal again to make sure that their classes are loaded. Each student should have 6 classes. And if your child's classes are not loaded, please reach out to their homeschool counselor. All right? So if your child's classes are not loaded again, you can let me know, that's fine, but I don't load classes. So please reach out to the homeschool counselor. All right? Now, failure to complete all enrollment steps will delay your student's day one start. So if your child is not fully registered at their home school, they will not be able to start school on day one. AVA 101. So first, a little bit about AVA. We are in our 10th year of existence. AVA has been around for 10 years. Students in the program are enrolled at their home school or at Phoenix Academy. That's for high school only. Students can work 100% virtually. And there are exceptions to when students have to come in. We'll talk about that a little bit later. There are times that students will have to come into a building. Students can work any time during the day that they want. So students, just like if as if they were in the building, enrolled in a school in a building, they must log in every single day. The flexibility is in the time of day that they log in. I'm going to reiterate that a little bit later. The flexibility again is in the time of the day. So students must work Monday through Friday, just as they would if they were going into a building, but they have flexibility in terms of the time. So that's where the flex model comes from. So students can work from 6 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon, 12 in the afternoon until 6 in the evening, 6 in the evening until 12 at night. We don't care when they work. They must work every day though. Students can choose from rigorous core content courses. Students can access individual support as necessary. We'll talk about that. There is a teacher attached to these courses. They're just not providing live instruction. That's the difference between this model and the direct model. High school students can earn a diploma. Students must fulfill all APS graduation requirements. For example, 75 hours of community service. So even though your student is a virtual student, they still need to complete community service. So let's talk about Strong Start. This orientation is a part of the Strong Start process. Strong Start is our way of making sure that students are logging in and starting their courses on time and they are off to a successful start for the semester, right? That's our way of doing that. What does that look like? Well, first, we've already said that day one is August 1st. All students are to start classes from home. You are to check the portal today to make sure that your students' classes are loaded so that they can start on day one, which is Monday, August the 1st. And again, type any questions you may have for me in the chat. Day two, students continue to work from home. And again, this is Monday and Tuesday. Day three, non-start students must report to Phoenix Academy. And we put the Phoenix Academy address on the other slide. I'll go back to it later. But non-start students are to report to Phoenix Academy on day three if they have not started. They must physically report to our student support hub. All right, so let's talk about place of best fit. So in terms of place of best fit, what we believe in using this term to basically describe where can your student be the most successful or where do they need to be. So in terms of the time commitment, face-to-face requires 7 to 8 hours of time. AVA full-time, we require 6 hours or 1 hour per class. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. The schedule in a face-to-face environment is fixed. AVA full-time is semi-flexible. Why do I say semi-flexible? I say semi-flexible because, again, students cannot choose the day of the week that they work, and we'll talk about that later. They can't choose the time of the day. That's where the semi-flexibility comes in. Again, not day of the week. If school is in session, AVA Flex is in session, right? And then also, students have the ability to work on weekends. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And as a matter of fact, they must work on weekends. All right, number of classes. In a face-to-face environment, students have 8. In the AVA full-time environment, they have 6. And those could be A or B. So students in the building have to take part A in semester 1, part B in semester 2. In the AVA environment, that's not the case. Future scheduling conflicts, there are none. So if your child wants to decide that they want to transfer, they can at the end of the semester, though. Students should never, this is just a general rule, it has nothing to do with AVA. Students should never transfer until the end of the term or the end of the semester because it messes up their credits. Off-track students, a face-to-face environment is good for off-track students, yes. AVA full-time, no. And it doesn't have anything to do with your student. What it has to do with is the number of classes. If your child is off track, what that means is they failed some classes in the past. They need to make up. AVA full time is not the best environment for them because in the building they're going to get 8 classes. With us, they're going to get 6. Do we have a virtual option for students who are deficient? Yes, but AVA full time is not that option. If you want to talk about that option, please reach out to me. I will put my contact information up later on. In terms of course flexibility, face to face, yes. AVA full time, no. And when I talk about course flexibility, what I'm talking about is in a building, a teacher can say, "Hey, you didn't do well on your quiz. You can do a project and I'll replace your quiz grade." In the AVA full time environment, that is not a possibility. That cannot happen. So the course is the course in the AVA full time environment. So keep that in mind. And students are responsible for completing the entire course. Student traits. I've been in virtual education probably at this point for about 15 to 20 years. In that time, and all of the educators who work with us are full-time virtual educators and have been for quite some time. In that time, we found that successful virtual students share common traits. Some of those common traits are successful virtual students are focused, independent, engaged, they communicate with the AVA faculty, able to self-manage, they're academically capable, and they have involved family members who are advocates for their educational needs. There are a few of these I want to just quickly unpack. One of them is communicating with the faculty. So in the face-to-face environment, if a child has a question, they raise their hand, they ask a question, simple, they can do it real time, right, in the classroom. That's not the case in the virtual environment most times. So what they have to do, if a student needs help, they are to reach out to the faculty member and say, "Hey, I don't understand this, I don't quite get that." They can meet with their teachers every day. Teachers are available from 8 until 4:30. I'll talk about student support in a later slide, but they can meet with their faculty members whenever they would like. So keep that in mind. Also, students must be able to self-manage. So if your child is not able to get themselves up in the morning time, get off to school, work all day, virtual may not be the best option for your students. So you know your students better than we do. I've not met any of them, so you know them better than we do. So you really have to do a really strong self-assessment, and that's part of the reason, the purpose of this course. Common barriers. So just as in the face-to-face environment, students in the virtual environment will experience the same issues. So students may experience issues with attendance. So if your child doesn't go to school on a regular basis, if they don't log in on a regular basis, they will not do well. Academics. If your child struggles with math, they will struggle with math online. If your child is credit deficient or behind, we've already talked about that. The AVA full-time program is not the best program. If your child is already credit deficient or behind, meaning that they're off a grade level or if they're missing credits, we can have a conversation just to see where your child fits and what a better option would be for that particular child. Also, they may experience issues with behavior. So if your child is easily distracted, if they rather be on their phones and on their computers doing their schoolwork, that's going to be an issue in the online environment just as it would be in the face-to-face environment. No different. Communication. We ask that parents and students, in terms of communication, keep their contact information up to date, respond to messages as appropriate. You're going to get a bunch of messages from us. We over communicate. So, and we're going to ask that you reach out if you need help. That goes for the student as well as the parent. If you need have an issue or a concern, our teachers are available Monday through Friday from 8 until 4:30. You can always schedule a meeting and meet with the teacher. That's never a problem. Now, in terms of student communication requirements, students are required to read messages in their portal every day before they begin working, and I'll show you that a little bit later once we go into Genius. All right. Student supports. We have a multi-level student support system. The supports include the LVLC, which is our live online support. We also have phone support, so each of us has a phone number, as well as messaging and email. I will show you once we go into the Genius portal. That's where your child's courses are. I will show you in that portal how to locate the teacher's contact information. It will show you their LVLC, their phone support, as well as their messaging and email information. Now, in terms of staff members, we have 15 full-time teachers. There's one counselor, Ms. Eccles. There's one academic support specialist, that would be me. And then there are adjunct teachers as well. If you have not done so already, please sign in using the link. And again, if you have any questions, please type those questions in the chat for me. All right, so if you haven't gone signed in already, please go ahead and sign in for me using that link. And the link is also in the chat here on YouTube. All right, so let's look at time commitment. One of the common questions is how much time does it take, right? So let's look at the time commitment for high school, and then we'll look at the time commitment for middle school. All right, so in terms of time, high school students are on a semester schedule. They have 6 courses per term. They are to take 1 hour per day per course, so that's 6 hours. There are two types of courses for high school students. There are initial credit courses, and then there are credit recovery courses. Initial credit courses take about 70 to 90 hours to complete. That's over the 90 days, so that's about an hour a day. Students must complete all course content. There is no ability to skip. So meaning every single activity, every video, every single thing, quiz, test, exam, all of that stuff, students must complete the entire course. With credit recovery classes, it takes a little bit less time. It takes about 50 to 60 hours to complete. Students can skip content as they demonstrate what we call mastery, and I'll tell you what mastery is a little bit later. And mastery is a specific number. It's not just a concept. All right, so students can skip credit recovery content as they demonstrate mastery. All right, for middle school, same schedule, a semester schedule. Students will have 6 classes per semester or per term. 1 hour per day per course is required. Again, that's a 6 hour per day commitment. Again, middle school students only have initial credit courses, which take about 70 to 90 hours over the course of the 90 days. Students must complete all content, again, with no ability to skip. Let's talk about academic probation. So students are always on a probationary period with us. And what I mean by that is, are they doing their work, right? That's really it. Are they logging in every day? Are they doing their work? And are they passing their classes? So we check at key checkpoints. We're going to check at during Strong Start, meaning that first week of school. We're going to check again at the end of Strong Start, which is the end of week 2, and then we'll check another time at the midterm or mid-quarter. How is your child doing? Are they logging in? Are they passing? Are they doing their work? And then we will check again at the end of the semester. Students who are not successful at the end of the semester will be recommended for transition back to the homeschool environment. Our whole point is student success, and again, place the best fit. If students are not successful in the virtual environment, then this is not the best place for them to earn their credits. And let me define place of best fit for you while I'm saying that, while I'm using that term. Place of best fit is where your child can earn the most number of credits in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort. So it's not a concept like a loose concept. It is something that can be quantified. And the quantification of that is your child earning credits? Are they passing their classes? And passing is 70% or higher. All right, so let's talk about parents as learning coaches. Oh, I have a question in the chat, so let me pause here and go answer my questions. And again, please type questions in the chat. This is really the bulk of the presentation I'm about to get into now, so this is a good stopping point for right now. Great question. So someone here says, so they have the ability to complete the 90 hours at any pace. For example, can you spend 5 hours a day on a particular course and finish it early? They can do that. This is from Michael Sims. They can do that. However, let me tell you how the strategy around that. So I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but we'll talk about it now for a second. Students are to work in every class every day, right? So they can spend extra time on one class if they want to, but that's after they've spent some time on each class first. So in other words, if you have an English, math, science, and social studies class, and you have a, I don't know, an art course or something, I'm making that up. But let's say you really love art. Well, you can do art for 5 hours if you want to, right? But that's after you've done English, math, science, and social studies. Let's say you really love math. That's fine. You can do extra, you can put extra time in on math if you really like it, but that's after you've done your English, science, and social studies for that day. You can put extra time into whatever you want. Also, too, they can do that on the weekends as well. They can work as much as they want. The courses are available literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including weekends, including holidays. And I'll get into that a little bit later. Students should be working every single day, including weekends, and I'll tell you why that is in a second. All right, so we have a concept called parents as learning coaches. You didn't know this before you came, but now you know. You are now a learning coach. And what that means is being the parent of a virtual student requires a higher level of engagement, or at least that's the way that we do it, because we find that it takes everybody and all hands on deck in order to help students be successful in a virtual environment. So, what are you to do as a learning coach? I'm glad you asked, right? So, part of your daily duties will be to check your child's grades by email. You will receive daily grade reports by email every single day, and you ought to check those every single day. You will get them, they update at midnight, and so you will receive that. So here's the thing I always say. Parents should never ask me how your child is doing. And the reason I say that is because you get that daily grade check. It doesn't have anything on it special that I don't that you can't see anything that I can't see. So when you ask me how your child is doing, I'm going to the same report that you can see and pulling up the same information. So you'll get a daily report. So that's your child's grade. And we'll talk about which grade to pay attention to and what they mean and all that stuff in a second. But just know, grade check by email, that's a daily duty, right? And then weekly, there's a scheduled weekly meeting with the student. So here's the thing about this weekly meeting that I'm talking about. That weekly meeting should be scheduled now before school even starts. So if you want to meet with your child every Wednesday night after Bible study, or if you want to meet with your child on Sunday after brunch, or if you want to meet with your child Saturday after their sports activities, go ahead and set that up now. So that way your child won't, they'll know that that's something you're going to do every single week. And I'll tell you what you're going to be doing at the meeting in a second. We'll talk about that. During these weekly meetings, you're going to be doing check ins with your child. Go ahead and schedule that now when that's going to be, and do it every week. Now, teacher conferences, check-ins, scheduled as necessary. So, if you all ever have the need to meet with the teacher and have a conference, again, teachers are available Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. You can have that meeting. Sometimes teachers are available after school as well. That's on their schedule if they are or not. But you can look at their schedules. They're in Genius, and I'll show you where those are a little bit later. All right. So let's talk about the map. So the map is a concept that I developed over time. I've been working in this portal, like I said before, for 15 years. So I know it like the back of my hand. It works a very specific way.
You have to do certain things. If you check these three boxes, your child will be successful. If they miss one of these things, your child will not be successful. I am guaranteeing it to you now. You want to take a screenshot of this slide while I work through it. Oh, great question. So there's a question in the chat I'm going to answer while we're here. One follow up from Michael Sim says, so once you have completed the course, do you have to log in each day, say by October, the course are finished? So once you have completed the course, do you have to log in each day, say by October, the courses are finished? No. Once the students are finished for the semester, they're done. So my rule of thumb is students are to log into their courses every single day, including weekends, and work until they're done. So once you're done, you're done. Now you have to also keep in mind you got to like your grade. So as long as they like their grade and they're done with the class, they're good. Now what I will tell you is it's more than enough work to do. I've never seen in my 15 years I've never seen students really finish early. It's a lot. It's a lot of work because it's everything. It's literally the whole course. So it's a lot of work. All right. So mastery. For mastery, maintain a grade of 80 or above in all courses. That's on the progress report, and I'll show you that a little bit later. Again, mastery is 80. Type in the chat for me what number is mastery. When I say mastery, what number am I talking about? Type in the chat for me what number that is. Attendance. Work in every class every day, including weekends, until they're done. And why do I say including weekends? And I'll tell you why. So this isn't your child. This is the other people's children who do this. Your children don't do this because they're scholars and they're great. But at some point, your child may have a birthday in the semester, either this one or the next one, unless they're a summer baby, right? So your child's gonna have a birthday or an event or something's gonna happen, and they're gonna go into Friday and they're gonna have like they're gonna go skating on Friday night or Saturday night, and then the next day they're gonna go to the park. They're gonna have a great time. They're gonna have a whole weekend. And then eventually, like Sunday, they're gonna have their party or whatever. Well, here comes Monday morning, right? Now Monday's coming. It's time to go back and do this virtual work. I don't want to do this virtual work, right? I'm tired of this virtual work. But here's Monday. Your child has work to do every single day. Every day, there's work to do, right? We've already said that. So now here's Monday. Your child doesn't feel like doing work. Let's say they don't do any work that day. Well, the question then becomes, when are they going to do Monday's work, right? Because Monday's work is done. They just didn't do anything. So type in the chat for me, when is your child going to do Monday's work? And while you're typing that, I'm going to go to the next one. Progress. Complete all required assignments each day. That's on the course map. I'll show you that a little bit later as well. So again, your students have work to do every single day. You'll see that later when I go to the course map. So again, type in the chat for me. Your child skipped Monday's work. When are they going to do Monday's work? So they're gonna do Monday's work on Tuesday. All right. So they're gonna wait, do Monday's work on Tuesday. That's fine. But the question is, when are they gonna do Tuesday's work? Well, now they have to do Tuesday's work on Wednesday, right? So now the question is, when they're gonna do Wednesday's work? They're gonna do it on Thursday. When they're gonna do Thursday's work? They're gonna do it on Friday. But now we're in a conundrum. Now we're at Friday, and the question becomes, type in the chat for me, when are they gonna do Friday's work? And I'll give you time. When are they going to do Friday's work? So when are they going to do Friday's work? It's really a trick question, right? Because you're going to say Saturday, but they're really not going to do any work on Saturday. That's not their plan because it's not a school day, right? They're not wanting to do that, but that is in reality when they'll have to do it because if they don't do Friday's work on Saturday, they're going to do it on Monday, right? But again, Monday has its own work. So then now we're back in the same cycle. When are they going to do Monday's work? They're going to have to do it on Tuesday. When they have to do Tuesday's work on Wednesday. When are they going to do Wednesday's work on Thursday? When are they going to do Thursday's work on the next Friday? So it's going to keep pushing everything back. So what is the solution? The solution is working on the weekends to do any work that's missed or to get caught up to the point where they're ahead. Here's my rule of thumb about this in terms of progress. Students should always be ahead. Notice I didn't say they should always be on track. They should always be ahead. Everyone should be ahead. No one should be behind, and no one should be on pace. Everyone should be ahead. That's why students need to work every day, including weekends, until they're done. All right? So now, let's go a little bit deeper into detail about why students fail and what the solutions are to this. So, this is a slide you want to take a picture of. Mastery. Students are failing assignments. If students have mastery issues, they're not passing assignments. What's the solution? They are to redo assignments. Students have 3 opportunities max to complete an assignment. That's it. It's like baseball. 3 strikes, you are out. Type in the chat for me how many opportunities do students have to complete an assignment? Type in the chat for me the number of times a student has to complete an assignment. Attendance. In terms of attendance, the student is not logging in. The answer to that, we've already talked about it, is the students will have to work on weekends. Period. Point blank. There's no ways around it. Everyone should be working on weekends, whether they're behind, on pace, or ahead. Every person should be working on the weekends. Students are to work in their classes every day, including weekends, until they're done. Now, students who are ahead can do one assignment here, one assignment there. Students who didn't work at all need to put in a full day's work. Students who are ahead can just watch a video for 20 minutes and they're done with that work for the weekend. Like it's simple, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. They're done with that class or doing some work on the weekends. But students who are truly behind need to get caught up. Now, progress. Student is behind on assignments. What's the solution to that? The solution to that is students must make a plan to catch up. Now, here's the thing about making that plan. It's not enough to make a plan, right? They actually have to follow the plan. That part, right? So, not just making the plan, they actually have to follow it. I can send you a plan all day, but if you don't follow the plan, then it's for nothing, right? Does that make sense? Type in the chat for me if it makes sense. If I make a plan for you and you don't follow it, then it's for nothing. All right, let's talk about understanding grades. So there are 2 grades. Again, you're going to receive a daily grade report to your email, right? Let's talk about understanding grades. There are 2 grades that you will see as a parent. Your student will only see 1 grade. You will see what's called an overall grade first. That grade is the average on the work completed so far, right? So one of the things I do to prepare for this orientation is I go in as a student and I complete a class, and we'll see that later. I go in, I complete a class, right? I go in and I complete 1 quiz. That 1 quiz, I'll get an 80 on or something like that, right? I did 1 quiz, I got an 80 on it. My overall grade is an 80 because 80 divided by 1 is 80. That number, the overall grade, should always be above 80% at all times. But the overall grade is deceptive. That's not the student's actual grade. That's not the grade we're going to post. That grade is just a measure of how well your student is doing, again, on the work that they completed so far. If they've done one assignment, it's going to divide that one assignment grade by 1, and that's going to be their overall grade. And that grade will be an 80 until they do something else. Now, let's look at the actual grade. The actual grade is the real grade. That's the grade that you would call a report card grade. That's the grade that accounts for where a student should be. This grade gives zeros for work that should have been done but has not been completed. So if we're on week 4 and your child has completed one assignment, they get zeros for everything that they have not done. And please remember, I've said it before, students have work to do every single day. Every single day. And again, this is a report card grade. So again, you should never ask me how your child is doing in their classes. You're getting a daily report and it's showing you the actual grade. This is the grade we give students at the end. So this is the grade that you should be checking. This is the grade that posts to the student's transcript. Now, this is an action plan for parents. Please take a screenshot of this slide as well. This is a critically important slide. Please type any questions you have for me in the chat. Yes, please type any questions that you have for me in the chat. All right, so let's review this chart. You want to take a screenshot of this chart if you can. We're going to look at the overall grade, the actual grade, the pacing, and then the solution. So if a child's overall grade is above 80% and their actual grade is above 80% and they're on pace, they're doing everything right. That's where everybody should be. And there's a typo here. I see it. I'll change it later. But they should keep up the good work. That's it. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, let's say for instance your child's overall grade, scenario 2, let's say your child's overall grade is less than 80, their actual grade is less than 80, and they're on pace. That means that they're not demonstrating mastery. That means that they're doing work, but they're not passing the work with above 80%. They need to redo assignments and to get the grade up to mastery. Again, type in the chat for me, what number is mastery? What number is mastery? And that's going to be important later when we start looking at some other things. All right. Now, the next scenario 3, your child is passing with 80%, but their actual grade is failing. That means that they're behind pace. They need a pacing plan. They need a plan to get caught up in that class. Now, this is class by class. Your child will have 6 classes. So, what that means is they may be passing 5 and failing 1. They may be failing 4 and passing 2. So, any class that they're failing, these are the scenarios and solutions you need to be looking at, right? And you need to identify and look at each class. And this is the kind of stuff you would do at your weekly meeting with your student. All right? Identify assignments, and we'll go down to the assignment level. I'll show you how to identify assignments that need to be redone. Students should be earning 80% or higher on all assignments, not just in all classes, on all individual assignments. And I'm going to show you how to look at assignment grades when we go into the portal. All right, so let's say your child's overall grade is failing, their actual grade is failing, but they're on pace, right? So their little portal showing them they're on pace. They need to redo assignments. They're failing assignments. They're not demonstrating mastery. All right? Let's say students' overall grade is failing, their actual grade is failing, they are off pace. They need to redo assignments and they need a pacing plan. So they are in a bad way, as we used to say. So they're in a bad way if they're failing overall, failing actual, and they're off pace. They have a lot of work to do. Now I have a question here from Angela Love. It says, how do you know if registration is complete? My son has no classes added as of yet. I reached out to counselors, no response yet. Registration is not complete then. So you would need to reach out to the counselor. And the reason you're reaching out to the counselor is because the counselor is the only person that can load your child's classes. Now, if you wanted to add a different level, a higher level of accountability, you may want to include the principal, right? So include your child's school's principal on that email and say, hey, just reaching out again, just checking to make sure my child is ready with their classes for day 1. Reach back out because the counselor is the only person that can load classes for your child. All right, let's talk about testing. Testing requires students to go into the building. Period, point blank, full stop. So get that in your mind, right? So end of course, end of grade exams must be taken at your child's home school. And I'll share those general dates with you for right now in a second once we get to that slide. High school is normally 8 courses, it's currently 4. Middle school is 6 courses. So again, end of course is high school, end of grade is middle school. But students must go to the home school to test. And we work with the testing coordinators to organize all of that, but students must go to the home school to test. Students enrolled in EOC, EOG courses must take the EOC, EOG exam. If not, they will not earn credit for the course. So your child can earn an 80 in the course, but if they don't take the state exam, which is the EOC or the EOG, they will not receive credit for the course. The exam schedule is set by the district. That's going to be winter testing and spring testing. And we'll talk about those dates and general dates in a second. Next, let's talk about taking attendance. Homeschool is the school. There's a question here that says, "What is the homeschool?" Homeschool is the school that your child is enrolled in. Every student in the AVA, the Atlanta Virtual Academy program, must be enrolled in an Atlanta public school, a zoned Atlanta public school. So zone schools are Mays, Thorough, um, what else? Washington, Douglas. These are just high schools, right? Middle schools, Long, Young, King. That is the home school. Where does your child go to school? What school is your child attached to? That is their home school. All right. Students must take their own attendance each day, Monday through Friday, for each class in which they are enrolled. Attendance will be taken at Infinite Campus, and this is just a continuation where they just mark that they are here, they are present for the class. Attendance is a little tricky. Although students can work any time of the day they want, they must take their attendance by no later than 4:30 each day. I believe that's the right time. But they are to ask their teacher about more specific details about taking attendance. They'll be able to help them. We follow the APS student calendar. So again, keep in mind that students are to work every day, including weekends, and any work put in on holidays and weekends is going to accelerate them as long as they are already on pace. If they are behind, it's going to help them to get caught up. But again, no student should ever be behind. All right, so let's talk about some calendar highlights, some high level calendar highlights. In terms of high level calendar highlights, EOC testing is at the home school. We talked about that before, EOC and EOG testing. The winter main administration is November and December, and then the spring main is March through April. If your child is enrolled in the EOC course, they will receive a reminder to go ahead and complete their testing. End of the semester is December the 17th in this particular case. Again, a reminder, if you have not signed in, please go ahead and sign in for me. We're about 40 minutes into the session. We're about to now go over portal navigation, and then I'm going to walk you through the portal, and then we'll be done. Please go ahead and sign in if you haven't already. So Michael Sims asks, is there a set number of days they can miss, i.e. they know they are traveling so they can work ahead 2 hours each day for a subject. If they don't log in, is there a number where it becomes an issue? So here's the thing, like you said, they can plan ahead and put in extra time. That's what weekends are for. They have plenty of time to get the work done. So if they want to work ahead, that's fine. But they also need to make sure that they're working if they can on whatever break, quote unquote, that they're taking, because again, students should always be ahead. So to get ahead to then get on pace doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. They need to always be ahead. So if they're able to work wherever they're going during the semester, they need to be working. Again, students are to work every day, including weekends, until they're done. All right. So let's look at AVA course login information. You all should have already received your students' login information. And again, I'm going to say here again, go ahead and have your students log in to check to see if they can see their courses. They should have 6 courses loaded. All right. If they don't see 6 courses, again, reach out to the homeschool counselor. If you have already reached out to the homeschool counselor, reach out again, but include the principal on the communication in the carbon copy. All right. Do we have any questions at this time? If you have any questions, please type those in the chat for me. All right, so this is what Genius looks like. And actually, what we'll do now is I'll go ahead and navigate you over to Genius so you can actually take a look to see what the portal actually looks like live. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take you all over there with me. And while I'm navigating over, please type any questions that you have in the chat for me. No questions? All right. So we're going to navigate over to Genius. I'm going to share my screen with you all. Are you all able to see my Genius screen? If you're able to see my Genius screen, please type in the chat yes for me, please, if you're able to see Genius. Now, Genius, again, is where your students' courses live. This is where they're going to log in to look at their courses. So type yes in the chat if you're able to see my Genius screen. Good. So just so you know, all of the blue or purple links that you see on the screen are clickable, right? And just so you know, I'm clicking on all of them, but they won't let me click on them. Does anyone know? Type in the chat for me why the links will not let me click on them. Can anybody tell me why in the chat? Right. Someone says messages, right? I need to read my messages first. So remember, I told you earlier, students can't begin work until they read their messages first. So first, I have to go click here and read my messages, right? So as I'm loading my messages, I see that I have some messages that are read, and I have a whole bunch of messages that are not read. I have to read all of these messages or at least click on them before I can start my workday, right? So I have to go down and find the messages and read about them, and they're just telling me different things going on. These are old messages, of course, but I have to read all the messages. Somebody said it'll start working on the first day of school. It will, but students have to read the messages first. So here's the thing about that. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. So now that we're in the message portal, I'm going to actually come out of here and go into another one. Okay. So we can go to messages here, right? Now that we're in the message portal, I want to show you how to send some messages. So let me find some people. Let me find Miss Nunn, right? All right, Miss Nunn is our math teacher, right? There are a few ways to send a message. I can either hit reply on a message that she sent to me, right? And I can just start typing, hello, Miss Nunn, I need help, right? That's one way to send a message, right? So remember I said earlier that students can send a message through the portal. This is the portal that they can send a message through, right? Simple. Now, that's one way I can reply to a message and I'll hit send. In this case, I'll hit dismiss because I don't want to send this message, but that's one way. Another way is to go up to the top and hit compose. And let's say I can start typing Miss Nunn's name and her name will come up and I'll say, hello, Miss Nunn, you rock or math rocks or something. She loves math, so she's always like happy about math. So math rocks. I can send that, and then I can dismiss. I'm gonna dismiss it in this case, but you get the idea, right? I can either compose it or I can reply. That's sending a message. Now, how do I find my teacher's email, phone number, and their link to their LVLC? I go to teacher information, and hopefully this teacher has included it on her little passage portal. Oh, here it is. So it's beneath here. So this is Miss Gaspardo. This is Miss Gaspardo's, excuse me, email address. This is her phone number. This is her information in terms of when she's available, Monday through Friday from 9 until 12, 2 until 4, and 2 to ATL available to help her with her courses. So she doesn't have her LVLC link on here, but you can always get that from the teacher if necessary. So again, her email address, her phone number, her LVLC link is not here, so she would need to include that, or you all could reach out and get that from that particular teacher. All right. So that's that on that. So now we're going to actually continue with the PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. So that's genius, right? So that's where students land when they're actually when they log in. That's where they're going to go. And that's what genius looks like. All right. So next we have Edgenuity. This is where students actually do their work. So again, students are to check their genes to make sure that their classes are there, but they are to do their work in Edgenuity. So in this particular case, you're going to see what are called course tiles, right? So course tiles are basically the courses that each tile represents a class that your student is taking. As you can see, this is Algebra 1 in this particular case. All right. In terms of portal tools and Edgenuity, there are several. You're going to look at the course map. It's like a course to do. It gives them their work to do every single day. Progress report, report card, teacher grade book, guided notes. Those are critically important. Students are to take notes as they are working through the course every single day. They can do that on paper or they can do electronic notes by saving the file and just typing in, filling in. It can't get any easier, people. It's real simple. So the course map, I'm going to give you an example of that, and we're going to walk through this in a second, real quick. It's here. It's going to show you the dates and the dates that students should be doing their work. It's going to give you the actual due date, and it's going to also give you the score if your student has already completed. It's a course navigation tool that lists all course content. The course map, again, as you can see, shows what work needs to be completed every single day. There's work to do every single day. The progress report is critically important. This is one of the documents you're going to review with your students during your weekly meeting. These things that I'm showing you are the things that you will be reviewing with them on the weekly meeting, right? The progress report shows the different grade categories, right? It also shows the actual grades. So it shows the individual grades here, right? So it shows the individual grades. Now let me ask you a question. It shows the weights. So the grades are in blue, right? It also shows the weights. The weights are in green. Let me ask you this. Which grade category carries the highest weight? Which category carries the highest weight? There you go. So the assignment category carries the highest weight. And I point that out because sometimes students think that those assignments don't really count and they don't matter. When in reality, they carry the highest weight. So they impact the grade the most. Out of all categories, they're going to impact the grade the most. So keep that in mind, okay? So now we're going to go on. We'll look at this a little bit later in the next part when we're going through Edgenuity as well. So that's the progress report. Now, oh, I guess I have another question too that I always ask here. Why did I choose this particular student? So I could have chosen any student. Why did I choose this particular student? Does anybody know? Type in the chat for me why I chose this particular student. And I'll give you a little clue. I just did. So why did I choose this particular student? Mastery, right. This student has demonstrated mastery. This is what your child's progress report should look like. They should earn 80% on every single grade, and on every single assignment. They should have an 80% average in every single category. This is what an ideal student should look like. This is what your child's grade book, when you pull up their progress report, should look like. All right. Next, these are some other tools. These tools are available as students are working in their course. These are the tools that help students actually master the material. So we have a glossary, the video transcripts, the read aloud, as well as a language translator. So the glossary is, in order to access the glossary, it shows key terms used in the lesson. In order to access the glossary, students must click on the plus arrow, right? Once they click on that plus arrow, the glossary will open up. It's the middle tab. It will give them the definition, the term, the definition. It will also read the term and definition to the student. And again, the content is video based. So this young lady up here in the corner, that is the instructor, or she is the teacher for this course. That is not the student's actual teacher in Atlanta Public Schools, but that is the instructor for the particular course. All right. It looks like we're coming up on 11 o'clock. We're almost done. We have just a walkthrough of the platform, and that's it. All right. Also, there's a video transcript available. Remember, this system is video based, right? It's video based. This is a read along, word by word for word transcription of the video that the student is watching, right? The next option or the next tool is the read aloud tool. Again, to access this tool, students are to click on the headphones. This allows the course content to be read aloud to students who need this particular support. There's also language translation. This will read the page aloud to students and course content in the student's selected language. As you can see here, we have English, Spanish, French, Italian, um, German, Portuguese, and whatever that little symbol is at the bottom of the screen. I don't know what that is. I'll find out one day. All right. We're going to get ready to transition in a second. So if you have any questions, please type those in the chat. I'm going to go back to the technology distribution screen for a second while I transition, and then we'll go from there. If you haven't signed in, please go ahead and sign in. All right, so for technology and technical troubleshooting, if you have questions about Edgenuity, reach out to your teacher. If you have questions about graded work, if you have questions about course content, if you have questions about working ahead or catching up, if you have a question about being unable to move ahead or advance in the course, progress monitoring, video issues, reach out to your teacher. Anything in Edgenuity. If you are experiencing issues with your laptop, that's APS, the IT service desk. That's at 404 802 1000. Take a picture of this screen. If you have more general concerns, your school counselor, your AVA school counselor can help with personal family issues which interfere with your student success, official forms, scheduling concerns, transcripts, accommodations, or modifications. That will be Miss Echols. All right, so that I believe is the last one. It's just now time to get to work. Again, we're looking at day one, and if you haven't signed in, please go ahead and sign in. Day one is Monday, August the 1st. Students are to be working on day one. All right. If you haven't signed in already, please go ahead and sign in. I'll put the link in the chat for you. And I'm getting ready to transition over to the actual Edgenuity system so you can see that live and what that looks like. All right. While I do that, I'm going to go back to the technology distribution screen at the very beginning. All right. Again, tech distribution will be at the AVA Support Hub at Phoenix Academy. That's at 265 Clifton Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30317. That will be on August 1st and 2nd, which are Monday and Tuesday of next week from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Day one of Strong Start is Monday, August 1st. Day two, students are to continue working. Day three, if your child has not started by day three, they are required to come into the AVA Student Support Hub, again, located at the same location. That will be from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All right, while we're doing that, I'm just transitioning just so you all know what we're doing. So hang on while I transition. While I'm transitioning, please go ahead and type any questions you may have in the chat for me. This is the last part of the presentation. Again, please go ahead and type any questions that you have for me in the chat. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see Edgenuity live real time. If you're able to see Edgenuity, type yes in the chat for me, please. If you're able to see my screen, please type yes in the chat for me. And
All right, everyone. I see that we have some questions in the chat. So, someone says, "How should you
all right, I'm going
schedule
to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see Edgenuity
schedule
live real
breaks and
time.
lunch?"
If you're able to see Edgenuity, type.
Hold on one second. So someone asked, how should you schedule breaks and lunch if he has an hour for each class? So, however you want. That's what flex is. So, that's the beauty of flex. Students can do whatever they like in terms of how they schedule that. Or is there a recommended schedule for the kids can follow? There is no recommended schedule because everybody has a different set of standards. So, for instance, we have some kids who are in like very high intense athletic activities. Those students have a different schedule. They may do that in the morning time, and then the rest of the day is free. Or we have students that work, so they work around their work schedule, or just everybody's situation is different. So you do what's best for you and your child. And also remember too that students can work on the weekends. They can work at night. They can work whenever they want. So that's the beauty of flex. Just so you know, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type those in the chat. If you have any more questions, please feel free to type those in the chat. With that being said, I'll go ahead and continue the video. We're wrapping things up. We're almost at the end of the video, so we'll be wrapping things up shortly. So, again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type those in the chat for me. Thank you so much, and I'll be back to wrap it up at the end.
I'm in Edgenuity right now. All right, great. So as you can see here, we also have there are lots of messages, right? So they're always going to see a message. So I'm going to draw a box around this so you all can see it here. There is an announcement screen here as well on the side, right? So everyone can see that there's an announcement screen on the scene on the side that has certain deadlines on it, right? So the fall semester course drop deadline is September the 30th, right? They have that. And then fall 2022 semester courses in on December 16th. It says the 16th, not the 17th. That was my error. So I need to change that on my presentation. So December 16th is the last day to work on classes. So that's important. So we're always sharing information. That's why I wanted to highlight that. And then here in the middle, you can also see the course tile that I told you about before. Now, this student only has the one class, which is fine, right? So that child only has the one class. Your child will have six classes, but it's all good. It's okay. So this kid has one class, right? No problems, no worries. One of the things I want to ask is, what is this student's actual grade? Now, this is the student that I was this student, right? I impersonated this student. So I completed work as this student. What is this student? Type in the chat for me. What is this student's actual grade? Yes. Someone says while I'm doing this, in the chat, Rory C says, "Is it required to have a district issue device?" Yes, it is required that all students have a district issue device. There are certain things that we do with students where they need to log in to certain proprietary software, and we can only troubleshoot on district issue devices. So we are requiring that all students get a district issue device. And I'll go back to that technology distribution again, but that's going to be at Phoenix Academy at our student support hub on Monday and Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Type in the chat for me. No, give me the number. What is this student's actual grade? What is their actual grade? Type in the chat for me what their grade is in this course. Actual grade. And if you need a little bit of help, I'll give you a little bit of help. I'll highlight it in blue this time. What is their actual grade, right? Type in the chat the student's actual grade. That's it. So Neil put 4.1. Now here's the thing that you have to remember. I completed a quiz as a student. I earned an 80%. So I did my quiz. My overall grade is 80% because I only completed one quiz, which is great. 80% is great because it's showing I've mastered the quiz material, which is wonderful. But the grade that's going to post to my transcript is a 4.1. And this grade, this particular course is from, I think, spring semester. So that semester has come and gone. It's already closed out. So I completed one assignment and I didn't do anything else. This is the grade that's going to go on my transcript, right? It doesn't matter that my grade on the quiz was at 80%. Does not matter at all. It's completely irrelevant. And I'll go a little bit deeper into it in a second and show you what that looks like on the inside. So once a student is ready to start a course, they are to click on the course tile, and it's going to take you to all those tools. So as you can see here, a little note pops up to tell me if your child is behind. A note will pop up and tell them that they are behind. I'm going to highlight this in yellow. So it's going to say, hey, you're behind, and this is how far behind you are, and this is how long it's going to take for you to get caught up. This student is on 122 assignments behind. These activities will take about 25 hours to complete. Passing pretest will allow them to skip. It will allow them to skip because this is a credit recovery course. We talked about that earlier. Credit recovery courses will allow students to skip. Okay, I'm going to clear this drawing and I'm going to go ahead and go into the course. I've read that message, that little pop-up. Now I can go ahead and start my course. Here is the course map. This goes back to spring, so it's going to go January through May, right? Which is perfectly fine. And again, as you can see here, it's going to tell us it's going to give us the entire course from January the 4th all the way down to May, I don't know, 25th maybe or so. I don't know what the last day was. I can't remember. May 27th, right? So May 27th, that's the last day. That culminates with the final exam, right? All courses have a final exam except end of course test. End of course courses, I'm sorry. All right? So there we are. We see that that's the entire course. It gives us an assignment to do every single day for the entire semester. We'll take a deeper look at that once we look at the course report. It's another view. I want to show you right now. I want to show you the course. I'm sorry, the guided notes. All right. So I'm going to click on the blue plus sign here. Right. We're going to open up the guided notes. Now the guided notes track along with the video. Students can watch the video and literally fill in the blanks, and you'll see it in a second. Type yes in the chat for me if you're able to see my guided notes. They say warm up, quadratic function, standard form. All right. So I see that you're able to see that. So here are the guided notes, and literally students can just type in these. This is literally what the lady is saying on the video, the teacher, right? This is literally what she's saying. So they literally just type in as they go along what she's saying, and then they can do a matching activity here, like the vocabulary activity here. Then they can also do follow along with her. She's gonna go cover all this. They can just literally type in, and she's going, and they can use these notes as they are completing their quizzes, their tests, their exams as they go. As a matter of fact, that is what they should be doing. So those are guided notes. We've taken a look at those. Now let's go back over to Edgenuity. Let's close the guided notes tab for now. And then we're going to look at, we can take notes here as well. That's just another option if they want to take e-notes. And then also this little tab here, the first little bullet tab is course map, right? The last one with the little graph, that's going to be our student progress, our progress report, right? So as we go into the progress report, we've already looked at this before, so we know what it says. It gives us our actual grade. We know that's a 4.1. It tells us if we're on track or behind. I don't really suggest that you use this much, but you can if you want to. It's fine. It's okay to use. Not ideal, but okay. And then we want to go back and look at grades by category. We've already looked at this before, right? And again, we're going to look at it again, but this is for a real live student. So it's not for the little sample student. This is for a real live student. One of the things I want you to pay attention to, though, is there are a couple of things on here I want you to pay attention to. I want to go a little bit deeper on. But first, again, which category has the highest weight? Which category has the highest weight? Type in the chat for me the category that has the highest weight in this case. And it could be different based class by class. So just because um, a category is high this time doesn't mean it's going to be high every single time. Type in the chat for me which category has the highest weight. Right. So in this again, in this case, it's going to be the assignment category, which carries 50% of the weight. So again, students are rushing through assignments, but really that's the thing that carries the most weight. Makes sense. So they have to be careful if you're going to try to get a particular grade in the course. If you're going to put some extra weight on everything, everything should be 80 or above. But if you're going to put some extra time into something, it should be the assignments. And that's just the exact opposite of what students do, but it's weighted that way. So they have to pay attention and take time to pay attention to the weights, right? So as you can see here, I earned a 90% on my quiz. I took one quiz, right? I'm gonna highlight that for you. I took one quiz, right? And I got a 90 on it. But again, my grade is a 4. Why? Because the actual grade gives you 90s, I mean, it gives you zeros for everything that you have not completed. That's why my grade is a 4. I did one quiz. My overall grade is a 90 because I only did the one quiz. But my actual grade that will post is going to be a 4. And now, again, students can't see the overall grade. Only parents can see that. That's just for you. They can't see the overall grade, they just see the actual grade. All right, as you can plainly see here. All right, so that's that on those parts. Now, one more thing I want to show you is a course report, and then we'll be done. The course report kind of is a combination of all of these things. It is the course map mixed with the progress report. You use the course report as a way to identify whether or not your student is behind, number one. You also use the course report to identify whether or not your child needs to redo assignments. Type in the chat for me, how many times can your child redo assignments? And I want to show you that too while we're here. How many times can your student redo an assignment? Type in the chat for me the number of times your student.
All right, everyone. This is the wrap up of the session. This is the last part. I'm going to show you the course report, and then we'll be done. Again, pay attention to the technology distribution. That was going to be Monday and Tuesday at Phoenix Academy at 265 Clifton Street. I'm going to show you that again at the end. Atlanta, Georgia 30317. That's going to be outside the auditorium. The team will be there waiting for you. And then as well, just day one is Monday. So we want all students to be able to start Monday um, on time. All right. So just keep that in mind. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, if you have any questions, please type those in the chat for me. We're getting ready to wrap this up. All right.
Student can redo an assignment. Three, right? So students have three opportunities to redo an assignment. However, there's a distinction I want to make for you, just so that you're really clear. When you're looking at your students, their grade categories, right? They're going to be grade test exams. Anything to the right of the blue line, they must seek permission from their teacher to reset. So anything to the left, like let's say they take a quiz, right? If they take a quiz and they want to redo it again, they can go right back into that quiz and take it on their own. They can. They can. They should not, but they can. Anything to the right of the blue line, they'll have three opportunities, absolutely yes. But they must reach out to their teacher and their teacher must reset it for them in order for them to retake that assignment, right? Now here's the thing before they redo anything. This is my rule of thumb. Before they redo anything, they need to go back into the lesson, review the content material, take notes if they haven't already, but maybe they need to take notes again. Take notes or take more notes, and then go back and use their notes and redo that assignment before their second attempt. Now, if they fail again a second time, my suggestion is at that point, they need to have a meeting with the teacher. So, again, before the third attempt, meet with the teacher. That is my recommendation. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clear this. I'm gonna go into um, the course report, and then I'm done. That's it. So please type any final questions that you may have in the chat. Any questions that you may have in the chat. All right, I'm gonna share the course map with you. Type in the chat if you're able to see the course map. It says Edgenuity in the upper right hand corner. All right, so everyone's able to see this. Now, again, the same information is here, it's just in a more collapsed form. This is what you want to review with your students during your weekly meeting. It'll give you a quick little snapshot. You can see what's going on. So we can see the grade here. Also, we can see the start date as well as the target date here. In addition, we can look at the category. So I'll highlight a few of these things for you. So I'll highlight them in red. This will show you the number of attempts. Again, they have three attempts. It will show you how long the student took on the assignment. It will show you the assignment category. It will show you the due date. It will show you when the student tried to attempt the assignment for the first time. Uh-oh. Let me clear the drawings. I'm going to grab my arrow. Give me a second. It will show you the first attempt. It will show you the number of attempts. Again, students have how many attempts? Type in the chat. How many attempts does the student have on one particular assignment? It will show you the assignment category, but it'll also show you the grade, right? So it shows you everything in a snapshot. So the question becomes, when should my child have completed this assignment? On this date did they complete it? Today is July 27th, but When you pull this up and you meet with them, you can say like today is such and such a date. Have they done all the work up to this date? Yes or no? Now, remember I told you a long time ago that students should earn 80% or higher on all their graded assignments, right? We already talked about that. So if you scroll down and you see something that's less than 80%, it needs to be addressed at some point. If you see anything that's a failing grade and when you scroll down, it needs to be addressed immediately, right? And then you need to look at the number of attempts. Hey, how many times has my child done this? Right? Or how many times as a student, how many times have I completed this assignment? I've done it twice. I have one more time. I need to meet with my teacher. Then you all need to have a conversation around, hey, you need to schedule a conference with Miss Glenn or Dr. Banks or Miss Brooks or whomever to get that done. Let me just give you another little note. Anything with these little slashes, these little dash marks, that's a graded assignment that goes into the grade, right? So if you scroll down, you'll see a lot of those, right? So let me scroll down. You'll see a lot of those little tick marks. You'll see them here. See how they're here? All those little assignments, the tests, all those little things. Yep. So all of those are graded assignments. That's pretty much it for me. I don't think I have anything else. If you have any questions, please type those in the chat for me. And I guess I'll go back to the technology distribution screen just so you all can see that again. Again, tech distribution will be Monday and Tuesday from 9 until 3.
All right, everyone. The time is now 7:41. I will remain available here until 7:45. Um, Thank you all so much for coming. If you have any final questions, please type those in the chat. Again, our tech distribution information is on the screen for you. That will be again at the AVA Support Hub at Phoenix Academy, located at 265 Clifton Street, Atlanta, Georgia 30317. That will be both Monday and Tuesday, again from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Thank you so much. Have a great day.